Breaking news. Do you guys remember the video I just did about Vishal, the Antifa quote unquote journalist who's really just a propagandist, very selectively edits his videos and his coverage to always be in Antifa's favor? Well, looks like there's a new development. In the last video, I specifically talked about the fact that he's just been posting these crazier and crazier Twitter posts just calling for, violent action and to try to radicalize people. Well, new development. This is just a couple of screenshots of things that Vishal posted in response to the gay nightclub shooting. I've had it. I've fucking had it. The anti-LGBTQ plus hate in this country has gone too far. Liberals who appease transphobes have gone too far. That's it. We're done. We're fighting back. It will be militant. You will not genocide us into the night. You want a war? You've got it. Any cis or straight person who remains silent in the time of anti-LGBTQ plus genocide and pogroms in the United States is no ally. They are the enemy and should be treated as such. This is a war for survival, and I'll be damned if LGBTQ plus lives will be stolen without a fight. In another tweet that I actually didn't get a chance to grab before it was pulled off the internet, he said that all of the LGBTQ community needs to arm themselves. So this is just an outright call for domestic terrorism, essentially. And he's delusional, obviously, because, as I've already demonstrated, he clearly has no idea what violence is or how to be successful at it. He got emboldened along with the rest of LA Antifa after they beat up a bunch of soccer moms at the Wii Spa. But as I've been pointing out more than once, right there in MacArthur Park in Los Angeles, MS-13 routinely kills trans people if they catch them there. And he kind of laughed that off when I brought it up and said, what, you think we're like special forces or something? I'm like, well, apparently now they do think that they're special forces, because if he thinks he's going to arm himself and fight people who are against 11-year-old children being at drag shows, or rather performing at drag shows, because we've got evidence of younger than that being present, he's going to be in for a world of hurt. This is not going to be like beating up innocent, peaceful protesters with the cops standing there allowing you to do it. This will be very different, and you will lose. Hard. However, I was pleasantly surprised to find out that Twitter finally took action against his account. After years of posting, calls for violence just like this and falsely reporting events and how they went down, Vishal's account has finally been suspended. I don't know how long this will last because Twitter's been going back and forth on this, and I'm going to be doing another video about it because Chad Loader's account was finally axed and then apparently came back. So, but in the meantime, this is a good sign. But I mean, we are talking about a guy whose idea of journalism includes suggesting that the founder of Gays Against Groomers must be a neo-Nazi or neo-Nazi supporter, because he posted a parody picture comparing George Bush to Adolf Hitler. Vishal basically just centers on the use of the swastika and Hitler, but as I've kind of noticed frequently right now, George Bush, just like with Liz Cheney and all of the pro-war, pro-torture, pro-Patriot Act Republicans are the darlings of the new left. Like, if you're worried about, like, real fascism, there's plenty of actually fascist legislation that was passed in the wake of 9/11. That's not conspiracy theory. Go read it. I mean, that's when we were concerned that they might censor the internet. That's when we were concerned that people just for being protesters would be arrested. And honestly, ironically, according to the definitions of terrorism that were provided in George Bush's Patriot Act, and it's not just his, obviously, it's more of a Dick Cheney brainchild, you, Vishal, would be a terrorist. And if they had gotten everything they wanted, they would have been able to strip you of your citizenship and throw you in a secret prison for being a terrorist. So, no, posting a comparison that George Bush should be compared to Adolf Hitler does not make you a neo-Nazi or a supporter of neo-Nazis, you fucking moron. Anyway, I will keep you guys informed as I see updates about this. I don't know if Vishal will stay banned, but again, the guy's just openly a propagandist for domestic terror. and now he's finally just calling for direct violence. And and it comes down to this: I don't want violence against gay people to happen at all, but the ignoring of this issue, as I've covered in previous videos that I'll link in the cards here, that there are in fact people who do want to normalize sex between children and adults. And some of these people are authors of books currently being used in sexual education. I have the receipts. This is not something I'm making up. Is what's causing this violence. It's things like the Wispa violence that Vishal took part in that brings this to a head, because they went ahead and just attacked peaceful protesters and brutalized them in the name of, trying to protect the rights of trans people to expose their penises to children. Because that's really what it ended up, the whole thing at the Wispa ended up being about. But again, they're not going to go to MacArthur Park and deal with MS-13. This is all just bullshit. Like, I imagine that they think that they'll try, but, and it wouldn't surprise me even if people that he's associated with are seriously thinking about, being violent in some way, but they're not going to be successful. What's most important here is that we need people to understand that the hypocrisy about how we've covered things like this has got to stop. Thanks for tuning in. There'll be more today.